There is no guarantee for success, but there are ways to get closer to it when you do the right things. Who you surround yourself with is just as important as what you do. Finding the right people, the right classes, the right activities, and taking the right tests are all decisions that shape your future. Find out more today on Destination University with Dr. Cynthia Colon. Dr. Colon and her guests will give you the tips you need, whether you're a student, parent, or educator. Now, here is your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon.
Welcome to Destination University. If you are a college-bound teen or a champion of one, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. We're running a special series interviewing real teens with real dreams who've been admitted to college. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Dr. Cynthia Colon, author of the book Be Committed, Get Admitted, and founder of Dream College Academy and College Essay Bootcamp. Wherever you are tuning in from, you are in for a treat. So grab your beverage of choice and a notepad because you're going to hear some golden nuggets from our big star today, Colin. Today, you'll learn what Colin did right and if he has any regrets at all, and he'll reveal where he is headed to college. So without further ado, let's get right into it and meet Colin. Hello, Colin. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm fine. Today's just been another normal day, you know.
Another day. I know that you're in Southern California, so it's usually sunny in Southern California, but we do have students from all across the country. So share with our listeners where you're from, where you go to school, you know, all that jazz, a little bit about you.
I'm Colin, I guess. I go to Los Alamitos High School in Los Alamitos, and it's in between Long Beach and Cypress. I'm a STEM person. I'm definitely not an English person. I've been in the robotics team for 9th, 11th, and 12th grade because 10th was shut down because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also in the jazz band.
Yeah, which I love. That's sort of that mix of the STEM and the music part of you. So, oh, good. We're going to dive all into that and hear more. I wanted to start by giving the audience the sort of the juicy stuff. They like to know right away where you've been admitted. Don't tell them which one you've chosen, but give us a sense of where you've been admitted and if you've had any, merit money or anything like that.
So I got admitted into 5 schools and waitlisted at 2.
Okay.
The 5 I did get into were UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, University of Florida, Purdue, and ASU. And the 2 I was waitlisted at were Northeastern University and Case Western Reserve University.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, that is great. So you had sort of something to choose from in terms of not just California, but also other states as well. So correct me if I'm wrong, I think you went to visit all of the schools that you were admitted to, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you had a clear path and a clear understanding of which one each offered, which college and what they offered before you made your choice. So I'm super excited to have you share where you're headed. But right now, I want you to share, the college admission journey begins so much earlier than I think a lot of, those parents who are listening or watching. It started much later for us, but share with our viewers and listeners what you did right. Looking back on the 4 years, what would your advice be to someone who's just getting started in high school?
I would say get A's. As easy as I don't know if it's easy or not. But for me, all I had to do was pay attention in class and do homework. So do that. Take a few APs if you can, but don't take too many APs because you will overwork yourself very easily. That's all I have to say. And do something that you want to do for fun, but it's also, I guess, looks good on your college application. So for me, that's robotics. I mainly did it for fun, but also when I'm applying to college, it says, "Oh, you're on the robotics team." Wow. Yeah.
Well, so what I'm hearing you say is, to start out strong and get as many A's as possible. So that's seems like a no-brainer of a piece of advice, but like you said, it's easier said than done. And then I like what you have to say that, take APs and take the rigorous course load, but also you can burn out very quickly. And so maybe just be cautious of that and do something that you enjoyed, that you authentically enjoy doing. And it's going to be good for a college resume anyway. So, okay, good pieces of advice. Thanks, Colin. Now, as we're thinking about, as you are reflecting maybe for the first time or this year, as you reflect on, what's your coolness factor, or what's your highlight reel, or what makes Colin super cool and super special. I know you have known you for a long time, and I know you're a little bit humble about all the things that you are and that you do, but our listeners and watchers do like to know. So what is your highlight reel? What makes you so special?
I would say robotics and music together is kind of like a weird combination, but it's like, I guess the best way to put it is that it looks good, or it's cool and it's fun to do. That, and I guess I'm really advanced in math. Yeah, I think that's about it though.
Well, okay, but again, I think you're humble about the jazz piece, because even I had to sort of learn a little bit about. You talk about that, if I remember correctly, you haven't been doing music for years and years and years.
No, so I'm in Jazz 1, which is the top band, but like it took a little bit to get there, because it's really competitive. I only got in for 1 year, the last year, my year, this year. But most kids started when they're like middle school, or like 6th grade, or like 5th grade, or even 4th grade in some cases.
Wow.
I started in 8th grade, but I didn't really start knowing what I was doing until 9th grade.
Mhm.
So it's never too late.
Mhm. And what instrument did you pick up, and you learned it very quickly?
Alto sax, which is literally the most competitive instrument. Don't play it. Play trombone if you want to get into top band. But for my first year in jazz band, there were 12 other saxophones.
What?
Yeah, or 13.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so you had
And there's one trumpet.
Oh my goodness.
There are 13 saxophones and one trumpet.
Ah, I see. So you had to beat them all out to get a spot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. See?
Well, actually, no. So most kids left. If you want to get a spot, just stay with it.
That's good advice. Stick with it. I mean, that's also really fair. So at your high school, you said you're in Jazz 1, which is the top, and is there Jazz 2 and 3, or what's the whole curriculum?
Yeah, so there's 3 bands. Jazz 3, it goes, everyone has to go there their freshman year, regardless of how advanced you were. When I came in, it wasn't like that, but now it is. And it's by far the biggest band, and it always is. And it's for the beginners. You don't need an audition. For Jazz 2 and 1, 1 being the highest, you have to audition for it. And that's about it. Usually it's around the sophomores and juniors that go into Jazz 2, and the juniors and seniors that go into Jazz 1.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you picked up another instrument, right? Because the director needed somebody to play a different instrument. I can't remember.
Last year I switched to the Barry sax, the really big one, for the year, just because we didn't have one and a band should.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, see, you're like always doing things. I love it. Now in this process, again, people who are watching and listening, they are obviously people who are watching and listening to this podcast are not people who have finished high school and or parents who have kids who have finished high school, but rather parents and students who are in high school or maybe even middle school. So if you don't mind being, really candid and honest about if you had any regrets, like if you had to do it all over again, is there something that you would do differently or better, or that you would, skip out of and try something else? What can you share?
Honestly, not really.
Okay.
I don't like to live with regret, so I don't think about that a lot. But I'm very glad to say that I never really stayed up till 2 a.m. doing homework, like basically once in high school, because I always did manage my time to a decent degree.
Yeah.
So that's good. But I also didn't just like dilly-dally in all the easy classes. Like
Yeah.
I took a few APs. This year I'm taking 3, and a college class, and last year I took 3, and the year before that I took 2. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like what you're saying about, you can't live with regrets. I mean, in many ways, if you could go back, maybe, you would do something different, but the truth is, here you are. And I like that you said, I went for it and you did what you could. So that's a really good piece of advice. And also I like that you spread out your APs. So some people will sort of bunch them all up and do like 5 in 1 year.
It's senior year. I know people who do 6 and 7, and all of them say they regret it. So I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't.
Right. Because you're saying you had a full plate. I know that you had a very full plate. You were always busy, but it sounds like you also never felt overwhelmed by
Not
that.
really. Not really.
So we've learned, you started out by saying you're a STEM person. You also mentioned how you're a music person, but in terms of college, what were the 3-4 most important pieces that you were looking for? What do you value, and what were you looking for in a college?
Well, when I was looking, I knew I didn't want to go to a school that was small,
Mm.
or a school that was in an area with literally nothing around it. So for example, when my parents brought up the idea of Harvey Mudd, and it had like 800 people, and I'm like, no. Also, they brought up Colgate, and we looked at Colgate, and it had 4,000 people, which is fine. But the place where I was at was literally in the middle of nowhere in upstate New York,
Yeah.
and had one street with stuff on it, and the rest was just road. And that was still way too small of a surrounding area for me. And another thing was that I wanted the college to have an actual campus rather than NYU or Boston University,
Right.
which is just a bunch of buildings. That doesn't sound very enjoyable to just go from building to building. And the last thing is, this is like the main thing, was looking for a school that was good in everything that I was interested in, so that I knew that if I wanted to switch, I'd still be fine.
Now you say switch, so you mean switch majors.
Switch majors.
And so give us a range of possible majors for Colin.
Right now, engineering in some field, most likely aerospace, or I don't know, nuclear kind of is interesting too. Or computer science, or somewhere in that realm, or physics, or math.
Yes, you've always loved physics and math. Okay. And so this is a good point that Colin is making. I'm just sort of sharing with everybody that one of the pieces that we talk about with our clients and our campers is you want to make sure that a campus does have sort of all of the majors that you are contemplating, because if you do, chances are you will change your major. Many students do. And so Colin is saying that was a really a point for him. He wanted to make sure he was going to be able to have the major, that it existed on the campus, but also easily navigate between majors. Am I hearing you correctly, Colin?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So that is really good. And then you were also, if I remember correctly, you had the luxury, you visited a lot of campuses, right? You went to visit even before you applied. And then also, of course, when you got admitted, as you said, you went to visit all 5 colleges. But how do you know? I don't know if you kept track. Do you know how many? Yeah.
Probably something around 30 plus.
Okay.
It was a lot.
You had a real understanding of what Colin wanted in a campus, because that's a lot of colleges to visit over time. I mean, obviously you didn't do it in 1 week, but over time.
A lot of them during spring break.
Yeah. So that's a luxury that not everybody has. And, but if you can visit, those of you who are watching and listening, and you're in this, in it to win it, you have to start thinking about family vacations or when else you can tie a pop over to visit a college campus, because just being on a college campus anywhere in the country is going to help you know what you like and don't like. So yeah. And Colin would agree for sure. All right. So anything else that you were looking for or not looking for? You were pretty plain, but anything else you want to add to that?
What I wasn't looking for was I guess, well, I'm gonna scratch that. I'm gonna stop
Okay.
what I was about to say.
All right. No worries. No worries. Okay. So it's time for the reveal of where you're going to be attending college, and then you're also going to share sort of why you chose that. So drum roll, please.
So I also forgot to mention earlier, I also got admitted into Georgia Tech, but it was like a weird transfer, guaranteed transfer. So that is still on the table for next year.
Okay.
Yeah. But other than that, I chose ASU over all the other schools, which sounds really weird on paper. Like, why would you go to ASU over Purdue or UC Santa Barbara, which is where I thought I was going to go.
Yeah.
Before.
So tell us, make the case, because
so I had to make it plenty of times to my parents, but the reason, and the main reason, is because UC Santa Barbara, I got admitted into physics. I don't know if I want to do physics. I am interested in engineering and computer science almost equally on top of with physics. But I knew at Santa Barbara, their college of engineering is really small and it's going to be really hard to transfer in. And if I spend all my time trying to transfer in and I find out that I don't like it, I can't transfer out because I need to graduate in 4 years. On top of that, the UCs I know have problems with getting classes and so on and so forth. It's going to be hard to switch around with the majors that I'm interested in because they're very competitive majors. Purdue, I didn't get into engineering. I got into physics, which is my second choice. And they only at Purdue, it's either you're an engineer or you're not. Meaning that they put all their money into their engineering program and not a lot elsewhere. So their physics program, all I have to say, it was really not too good. The physics was there to support the engineers, but not as a major itself.
Yeah, Purdue is known as an engineering school, so that makes sense.
It makes sense.
So now we ruled out Santa Barbara, ruled out Purdue. Okay.
The reason I didn't go to Florida was because it had what I wanted. It sounded like it was really going to be pretty easy to switch majors. It sounded like the professors were really chill there. But it's just the surrounding area was really weird. It's rural Florida, and it didn't give off the right vibe. It didn't sit well with me. And when I asked the student, "Do you regret coming here?" he was the only one that hesitated.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So that tells you something.
Okay, I've never been to University of Florida. Actually, it's one of the schools.
Yeah, we try to talk to a student everywhere we went, and you absolutely do that because the professors are obviously going to talk up about their university, but the students, they're getting the actual experience. So we try to do that wherever we go. But ASU, which is the school that you wouldn't think I would go to, it actually is really good. So I got admitted into Barrett, which is their honors college. And there's a lot of benefits with that, so on and so forth. But in general, ASU is such a big school that they're at least decent in everything. But their engineering I know their engineering is good, and their computer science is ranked up there as well. And their math and physics I know aren't bad. So that was that. Barrett gives me priority registration on everything, so I know that I won't be able to I will be able to switch majors if I want to. It will be very easy.
The classes that you wanted,
and I'll be able to take the classes. That's the main reason I chose ASU, was because I knew if I wanted to switch majors, I can switch majors. And I also know, because it's such a big school, I know I will be able to find my people that I want to hang out with.
Yeah.
I looked at the list of clubs. There's 4 rocketry clubs.
Ooh.
Not 1, not 2, but 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
It goes back to, when we talk to students and we ask, like, what's the most important thing, feature, event, club, or, student affair? Is it, student life? What is it that's going to be the driving force for you to choose? And, you said very clearly, you wanted to be able to have the array of majors at your leisure. And it sounds like that's what you found there. So, and then the bonus is that, of course, you're in the honors program. And so you do have some benefits that come with, obviously getting sort of front of the line kind of pass to get, the courses that you want, which, to your point about sometimes the public system here in California, we do hear stories that students don't always graduate in 4 years, or they can't always get the classes they want. So, that was important to you. So I get it. Is there any kind of cool little nugget about ASU that you want to share about either a tradition or something?
I don't know a lot about tradition there yet. All I know is that it's such a big school that they have 4 different campuses, which they still have one main one, but the main one itself is a square mile.
Oh, wow.
Also, it's really big. The surrounding area is also really nice. Mm-hmm. It's in downtown Phoenix, and that area is really, really cool to just explore and walk around.
And you also have access. I mean, Phoenix is a big city. There's also internship availability, and
that's a huge part as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Was the fact that ASU is one of, I think there's 3 public universities in Arizona, but ASU is the only university in the Phoenix area at all, mm-hmm. public or private, right. Meaning that basically all the companies there are turning to ASU for new hires, and that gives a much more opportunity than, let's say, if I were to go to Northeastern in Boston, where I'm competing with 50 other universities right in Boston.
Oh, that's a good point. It's a really good point. Well, Colin, it does sound like you've done, your homework, and you've done some soul searching as to what was important to you. And so for that, I could not be more proud of you and excited for you, because you're excited. So that's, I think, what matters most. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay, hang tight. We're going to say goodbye, but let me do the little wrap up here, and then we'll both wave goodbye. I told you were in for a treat. My gosh. Thanks to Colin for being with us today. Applying to college is no easy task. So I find all of our students that we work with very courageous to go through this process, not knowing what the end has in store for them. If you are watching and wanting to learn more about the college admission process, head on over to the website to download your free gift from me. You can go to Destination University, YOUniversity.com, and find your freebie from me. Also, if this episode has in any way fueled your confidence or helped to build your own dreams, please share this episode with 3 people in the next 30 minutes. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, comment below, and we'll be sure to answer any of your questions. If you are a parent, you are welcome to join the conversation on our Facebook group, Destination University, open to all parents, no matter the grade level of your teen. That's all we have for you today, my dreamers. Remember, if you are a dreamer or a doer, you are part of our Destination University family, where college dreams really do come true. Join us every week, same time, same place. Until then, wherever you are, may you have a happy and sunny day. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening this week to Destination University. Be sure to join Dr. Cynthia Colon again and get one step closer to your success.